What up, world? Welcome to the Fives of the Week podcast. It's your boy, Philly.
Grandmaster B.
Hollywood Apple Snatch.
And we got a special guest in the building, Mr. Paul McCann. How you doing, sir?
Hey, excellent. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Glad you can make it. So I've known Paul a long time, obviously through youth sports, and it's been probably, damn near 12 years now, something like that?
Yeah.
Been a long time. So big Lions fan. Thank you for joining us last week. Newer fan of the show, so we appreciate the support. I see you out there pushing it for us, so
nice.
Very much appreciated, my man. So what's new? How you been? What's good?
Been doing great. It's great this time of year to roll with the Lions, and I got them going all the way. All games are going to be tight, but we're so used to at this time of year picking a team that we're going to ride with the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Lions have already been golfing or whatever, and so that's awesome.
Yeah, they're usually in Cancun by now.
Yeah, it's been like that for a long, long time.
This is kind of uncharted territory. So, describe the atmosphere. Me and B had the luxury of going down there, and it was amazing, man. The city showed out.
It was crazy, man. First playoff win in 32 years. It's only, their second playoff victory since 1957. Come on, man, that's ridiculous. Jared Goff has settled all the scores for the doubters. He played as good as he's going to play. There's so many of those people that were against Jared Goff. That whole atmosphere down there, it lived up to the hype. It really did, Paul. It was just one of those kind of places that you knew that once you were there and understood what this whole thing meant to the whole fan base of Detroit, it was electric, man. There's no other way to describe it. It was just, we walked into the stadium 3 hours before kickoff, and this poor guy hadn't ate all day. He's like, "Hey, Unc, I haven't ate all day." I'm like, "Mike, we got to get down there early. It's going to be like something you've never seen. It's not a regular game. There's going to be people down there." And I'm telling you, when we got there, it was packed already, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a good call because we wanted to go, explore the atmosphere at first. But, man, we were frostbit by the time we got in the stadium. It was freezing that day.
Yeah.
And but the city was electric, and I only had a nacho, man. I was drunk by, the first quarter. Those blue moons are going right to my head. But it was all worth it. It was a great time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
There's a great picture of you from behind, and you're like this.
Oh, yeah.
Doing kind of like the LeBron thing.
Right. I was just thanking the football gods for that memory and the Lions and just seeing all the stars out. Glover Quinn, Steven Tuller, Golden Tate, those guys came back, showed love to the city. I thought that was awesome. Eminem, Calvin Johnson, Big Sean, Barry, I think Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad was there for the Rams, though.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a star-studded event, and it was just so awesome to see in Detroit.
There'll be more this week.
Oh, there's no doubt. All the players already said on social media that they're coming back in town, and they're just excited to run it back. So I really like our chances, fellas. We're on the cusp of something really special.
Yep.
And like I was telling Hollywood last night, I could see them going all the way now. At least getting to the Super Bowl. Once you get there, it's a whole different ball game. You got, Baltimore, Buffalo, whatever. But I really can see a path to where they go. And nobody's, immortal. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's beatable. Look at Dallas, 8-0 at home this season, and just get throttled by the young Green Bay Packers that wanted it that much more. You know what I mean? So I think this team's hungry. I think they're built the right way. Defense is very much improved. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, man. It's right there in front of our eyes, and it's kind of out of nowhere because we're ahead of the curve, like we talk about.
Yeah. What do you think, Paul?
It's an exciting time right now. I can't even describe it. I wasn't there on this game. It was electric enough on the games that I went to this year, and I would have cried like a baby too, just like those guys. So
it was emotional.
I had tears in my eyes, man. I ain't gonna lie.
I do see a path. I really do. There's no super teams. I think the scariest team is the Ravens, but there's no super teams. Mm-hmm. And anyway, there's a lot to talk about when we get to the predictions of these games, and I've gone back and forth on some of them, but I see a path for the Lions. I got them going all the way.
Love it.
Can't help it.
No, nothing wrong with that.
I mean, of course we do.
What do you think, Hollywood? Did you get a tear in your eye?
No, I didn't get a tear. I just got kind of a relief sign. Like you see, for most of us that are older in age, and a lot of people that prior to us never got a chance to see what we're seeing, and it's going to be great in the end. I can just picture in my head I-75 going towards Toledo, just cars pulled right there, stopped, getting out, dancing, everyone celebrating when they do this. Detroit is going to be, you're probably not going to work for a week. And it's going to be crazy like we've never seen anything before. And that's going to be the big part. Like I was telling a buddy today, he goes, yeah, well, you know Tampa Bay. I said, listen, Tampa Bay, they got a good run game, pretty decent defense. They're not going to stop us. Not what we're trying to accomplish now. We may even get a little help from Green Bay when they whip on San Francisco. That may be your help, and then it's the payback from Thanksgiving. So you got to come to our house for a third game. And then now we wipe you out, and then we just wait on the other side, which could be Buffalo. It could be Baltimore. But even if it's Buffalo or Baltimore, I think they'd be more prepared to go against them if they went up against them. And it's going to be a shock. And if they pull this off, there's a lot of money. I mean, when you bet and you put money out there in the very, very beginning on the Super Bowl, and the odds were so high, someone's cashing in.
Well, and it's almost poetic justice, right? Because we get absolutely robbed in Green Bay. Mm-hmm. Dallas. Mm-hmm. And, the ensuing week, Green Bay goes down there and shatters Jerry's dreams. And we get our first playoff win in 32 years. It's awesome. You love to see it, right? And I told you guys last week, even though I picked Dallas because of their home record, I loved every minute of it. I mean, we walked in the stadium, looked up at the screen, and holy shit, it's 20-0 already. Loving it. I'm like, let's go. So, because again, a big thing with the city was you lose out on all that economical impact of having another home playoff game. All those surrounding businesses. It's so good for the city. And I don't give a shit, man. The city of Detroit deserves it. We deserve those home playoff games, and you got another one. So you might have 3. You never know.
I just hope they embrace it in the city if it comes about like that. I'm already preparing a tattoo that I will get.
Oh, shit.
So it will be very extensive in Detroit. They'll have a lot of key things on there. So I think they can do it. I mean, these rookies, and I also thank Stafford because you're a part of this, even if you're not on the other side of the team.
Yeah.
You going away, we would never got some of these guys that are there.
That's
right now.
It's crazy because we talked about that atmosphere, guys, and we talked about kind of being stung, and we've seen this over and over again with the Lions. Like when Stafford got hurt, and we really didn't see that from where we were at. We just seen where he left the field, and then we were like, what's going on with Stafford? He's going in the tent, and then I seen the replays later on, and he got banged up. But this guy's such a baller. He comes back and throws the 50-yard and a 38-yard touchdown pass after being injured.
He got lit up.
Wentz was already holding the ball, ready to warm up. I mean, you seen when Stafford got hit that one time, his eyes were scrambled. He was looking straight up at the ceiling.
Did it remind you of that Browns game when he was hurt? He was like, let me back in. His shoulders hanging out. Get the F off me.
After the injury, the guy comes back. I mean, you talk about grit and you talk about a baller. You give him credit for that. More importantly, me personally, I wanted, besides the fans that were going to wear a Stafford jersey, I said it last week and I'll say it again, I could have cared less. What I wanted to see is the reaction of the actual crowd when he came onto the field. And I was a little bit taken back because it was a ton of boos, and then 50,000 or more people that were there at the time when he was getting on the field to warm up were doing the Stafford sucks chant. And here comes his wife with their 3 little kids, and it says born in Detroit and something in L.A. on the back of their little jackets, and it was cool. And you can almost see her face looked disgusted, like, wait a minute, we were here for 12 years, but that's the passion of a fan.
Yeah.
It's not a personal thing. It's all about just we are dying, we're starving for a win, and we don't care if you played here for 20 years. You're on that side now, man. And it was so rewarding to finally just have that whole thing just play out the way it did.
Absolutely. And I think, I'm with that. It's this team now. It's Jared Goff's team. To hear that whole stadium chant his name was an amazing scene. And you could hear it on TV. But at the end of the day, we do have to give Matt Stafford his flowers. He's a tough SOB. Yeah. Goff actually found him a second time to tell him that after the game. And, what was he, 25 for 25 for 36, 2 touchdowns, almost 370 yards.
Yeah,
and
he got
threw
his.
some darts out there, man.
Yeah.
No picks.
No picks. Yep.
I thought we'd have to get some turnovers to beat them guys, but
Red zone, 3 field goals? I mean, the defense, they made their adjustments at halftime. Hats off to Aaron Glenn. They did what they had to do going into the second half. And, it came down to that last drive, man. We were all just kind of, how do you say this? Pakua? How do you say the rookies? Nakua.
Yeah, Puka Nakua.
That one missed pass and then, of course, how they ended up winning that game. But, man, if you give a guy like Matt Stafford just enough time, we've seen it when he quarterbacked here, and he's done it many times, he'll come back and burn you. So it just cards fell in the right way. A 1-point win, but what an exciting win it was, man. It was just so exciting.
Now, do you think McVay was soft for kicking it there, or do you go for it in your own territory for punting it away with a little over 4 left?
I think
Too close of a game to take chances, I don't think.
Yeah, I think he didn't believe in Detroit, F him. I'll get the ball back.
Right.
Kind of
Yes.
thing. And that's how he is. And when you've seen that look on the other side in the end, he looked like Joe Hoff. You just stole the ball. Just sitting there looking at it like this, damn.
And the Lions, they're off. The first 3 possessions, they scored, right? So they were, there was no Donald to worry about. Nothing was really clicking on their defense. So the Lions were just moving the ball right
And
on
they
down
took
the
out,
field.
what's his name? That was a big play by Kirby Joseph, taking out Higbee. When he laid that smack on him.
Did the flipperoo?
Oh, man. Yeah.
That was great.
That took your number 1 tight end right out. He was out of the equation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
that was big.
that's a first down. I mean, now what's your guys' take on that? Because there's been some speculation. Is it dirty? Is it not? But they've
No,
taken
clean.
such
Clean
all the
hit.
high hits out of the game, right? So what are guys supposed to do?
He lit him up. I think what they complained about was the point when he pointed to Stafford like that, but he was letting them know, don't bring him across here and set him up like that. I'm going to take him out. You know what I mean? Type deal.
yeah, that he took them out. That was real football right there. Bottom line,
I agree.
and the most stressful part of the whole game for me was when they were going for the 54-yard field goal.
Oh, yeah.
And what if they didn't make it?
yeah, no.
They get the ball in that territory. That was huge. What's the guy's name? Badgley?
Badgley kicked for Dallas last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a
Dallas
great
kicked.
54. He hasn't kicked one all year.
He was. They showed his stats. He was 40% lifetime, over 50. So for Campbell to say, "Hey, I'm trusting you here. This is a big spot. I need you to go ahead and make this kick."
I thought
Confidence
that was
booster.
good. I thought that was amazing.
You're going to need a kicker, man. You're going to need kickers in games. You've got to give him his. Glad he made that kick, like you said, Paul.
He almost thought about punting it.
Yes,
He was
did.
reluctant at first.
Yep.
They were debating it, but that kick, man, it was like you had to
he
give this
thought
guy
about-
confidence.
He thought about faking the kick, faking the punt.
Right.
Through the man's mind.
Freaking Dan Campbell, anything's possible. That's for damn sure.
Well, and I think that shows growth as a coach, though, as well, man. When you're able to be in those high pressure moments and trusting your
absolutely.
players, and like Goff said, he loves Campbell because he trusts him in the big moment, and even on to seal the game to St. Brown. He's like, man, it's a play we can run in our sleep. It's a simple.
And that was a
hook
nasty
out.
play, too, because he just got that, too, and then did that turn.
Yeah, and that's all you needed to do, man. And I just think this. Okay, here's the next question. Let's just cut to the chase here. After that first playoff victory, does Jared Goff get his contract extension? Paul, we'll start with you.
Yes, they're going to. They really have plans for Hooker, but yes, and he deserves it. I thought Jared Goff was like vanilla, like so mediocre. I wasn't high or low on him. He's just won me over because he just consistently does it. He generally takes care of the ball really well. And so my answer is yes, and he's going to get an extension.
B, what do you think?
I think, like I said, I think he validated himself. I think he became a leader. You've seen him develop as more of a leader as time has gone on. And, you see the after game highlight reels with the, locker room talk and everything after Coach Campbell pays everybody their homage on the great game. And Goff's right there, man. He's not that rah-rah Tom Brady type guy, but I like a guy that conceals quiet and just goes out and executes. Those are some of the most dangerous people you have to look out for. It's sometimes the biggest mouth that doesn't always win you the game. Jared Goff knows what he's doing. He's an accurate quarterback. And I believe, we'll get into our picks, but I think this game here coming up on Sunday is going to be the Lions statement game. I really do.
Well,
I really believe this is going to be the one where everybody's going to say, damn, they are fucking good enough to go to a Super Bowl. Now, if they get there, great, because I think they're going to have a grind if they can beat this team. Mm-hmm. We'll get there. But then these next two teams that are playing here on Saturday, both of them are dangerous teams, and Green Bay's really starting to play good football. Mm-hmm. I mean, this team they've really played really well these past few weeks, and they're scaring the shit out of me, to be honest with you.
No doubt. And you look at Goff, I mean, this is only his second time throwing 30 touchdowns, but since his third year. 30 and 12? I mean, the guy's always around 3,000-4,000 yards, almost hit 5,000 multiple times. The guy's done it at a high level for a long time. I mean, you go back and look at that Saints game when they went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, it was an ugly game. Was it 13-3? Patriots just, they were outcoached, they were outplayed, all that stuff. Defensive battle. But Goff played so well that year. And he was in a ruckus environment on the road.
Yeah.
And was able to win that game. So people always forget about that stuff. Like, he was just a throw-in. And he's been nothing but solid here. As the team grows and you keep that offensive line around him and these weapons that we have, man, I think the future is so bright for the next 3 to 5 years.
Paul's going to mention something here. When you talk about the Stafford situation, what we got for Stafford, what do you got there, Paul?
Well, we got Jared Goff, but we also got Jameson Williams. We got Josh Pascal. How do you say this guy's name?
We got
Melifonte.
Melifonte, Jamar Gibbs, Sam Laporta, and Broderick Martin. So we got all those players, and granted, Stafford holds the Heisman, the Lombardi Trophy. But look what we got in return. And these are young players. We can build off of that. That makes Holmes look even more like a fucking genius.
He's our Herschel Walker. The Cowboys did that.
Yeah.
Got all them people and built something by trading that.
That's why it was hard for me to really hate on him. Like, I know once the whistle blows, we got to go to war. But I thank you for what you've did to Detroit and the 2 pay cuts you took to help your team, and all the money you gave to these kids, and Seven and Van Dyke, and the field over and everything. You've given a lot to Detroit, and for me as a fan, as much as I love it, I wouldn't boot him. You know what I mean? Because I respect him, and you're one tough competitor, and you held it with class. Even in the end, whatever you said to Goff and you guys, that was classy. He could have walked away and went to the locker room. He didn't. You know what I mean? And when I see these guys and how they're performing, all that like this, thank you. You did the right thing, because maybe this team wouldn't be where we're at right now if he didn't go in that office.
He's a classy guy.
Yes, absolutely.
He's first class all the way. He got a little criticism because when they said, "Are you happy for Detroit, the city of Detroit?" He said, "I'm happy for the players." And so he gets criticized for that. But I mean, his wife and daughters got blasted pretty bad, and we don't even know half the stuff he heard. You guys probably heard some things when you were there.
Yeah, but I mean, I agree with where you're going with that. I think there's like that fine line of class and just kind of sportsmanship, right?
Yeah, but he'll give him a little bit of time.
Yeah, is he a Hall of Famer, Paul? Do you think he's a Hall
Stafford?
of Famer? Yeah,
I do. He's got a ring. He's not done yet, and I think he's on his way.
I believe that too.
He'll make the Hall of Fame.
I really do.
Hall of Fame quarterback, Philly.
I agree.
Yeah.
He's one hell of a quarterback.
You want to talk about fans? Detroit was nice to Stafford compared to what? Do you see what that Philly fan did to Sirianni walking off the field in
popcorn
Tampa?
on him. Yeah, and they didn't even throw him out. They just kind of did they escort him out?
There was a longer video. They chased him up the stand.
Oh, I didn't see that part. I just seen where he was.
That's sad.
Yelling
They'll
at
do
him
it to you
the tunnel.
Philly's tough, man.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. It's exciting times right now to be a sports fan in Detroit. God, this is like the number one sport. Even the most non-sports fan. I'm talking people who really don't care much about football.
Think about if Philly didn't fold because they started off that strong, and we ended up in a playoff game in Philadelphia with as much of this Blue Army that travels. It would have it would have gotten nasty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
We'd have, to send the National Guard in over there,
Philadelphia,
man.
Detroit, always.
Crazy.
Yeah, in Chicago.
Oh, there would have been some viral.
This
videos
would have been
for
an
sure.
all-time high. Holy cow!
Yeah, there are teams that just shit the bed, man. I mean, Cleveland played terrible football. I mean, we talked about Cleveland, but they had the number 1 rated defense in the NFL, and they did not show up at all. They just did not show up.
Well, and we forgot last week, Grandmaster B, we got to honor you for winning the pick competition. So shout out to Master B. A little golf clap, boys. A little golf clap. Nice job.
Struggling.
Thank you.
Very well done, man. But yeah, I mean, I was the only one to pick Houston, by the way.
I know you
Saw
did,
that one
man.
coming. Let's go, baby.
Stroud. We got some facts on Stroud. Could be the only rookie quarterback to ever start a Super Bowl if he gets there.
I just don't.
It's never
see
happened
how.
in the history of the NFL.
You want to fire up
Not
some music,
Marino?
get into the picks?
Yeah, let's. You want
Wait a
to?
minute, not
we
Marino?
got to do the sports intro here, Philly. Is that where we got to go first?
Do we?
Let's do it. I don't do we.
I don't think so. We just get
No,
it
fuck it.
done.
Let's just go. We already know our sports intro. We're right into the thick of it right now.
Yeah. All right. Let's start it off with. So we got Baltimore at home, Houston. C.J. Stroud coming into town, the hot rookie. DeMeco Ryans, candidate for Coach of the Year. They're all playing really well. Nico Collins out of Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he never really had that opportunity here with Cade, and he's just thriving in the NFL with Stroud. So we'll just go around the table. Paul, go ahead and give us your lowdown.
Well, Stroud's not going to be the first rookie to start in a Super Bowl. He's not going to make it. Baltimore is going to handle them pretty handily. I got the Ravens 41, Houston 24. They're gonna handle them. So Ravens.
Lamar continues his new streak of winning playoff games.
Yeah, Lamar is playing scary good. He's an incredible athlete. When we look at guys like Josh Allen, that's so athletic and so fast, then there's Lamar Jackson that's faster than everybody. So,
Yep.
And he's proven himself to be a great quarterback. He's really he reads well. He's accurate. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He surprised me. I did not see all this in him when he first came in. So,
All right, Paul's on the Baltimore train. Grandmaster B, what do you got?
I'm right there with my man Paul. I'm taking the Ravens over this, so I'm going to say Ravens 27, Texans 20.
Okay,
Close game, but it's
game.
going to be a touchdown. That's Saturday 4:30 kickoff, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Hollywood Apple Snatch.
I got one of the biggest upsets.
What's this motherless fuck's name?
I got Houston going into Baltimore and beating them.
No.
And it's going to be close, like you say. I'm going to say 27-23.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I love upsets.
Yeah,
There's always one in every round.
Yeah, so why not?
no doubt about that.
I'm going to just have to disagree with you right now.
Okay.
I just think, Harbaugh is going to have that team humming. It's a perfect storm. When they're on, that team looks
They've been
amazing.
sitting now.
And that is something you got to consider.
Mm-hmm.
But give me Baltimore 38.
Ooh, high score.
38-24.
Wow.
They're going to win by 2 scores
All
for
right,
sure.
there you go. So we only got one person taking them Houston Texans.
Okay. Next one. Buffalo Bills, the resurgent Buffalo Bills finally get to host Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in Buffalo. Paul McCann.
This is going to go down to the wire. I got Buffalo 31-30.
Wow. Instant classic.
Yeah, this is going to be an instant classic. Josh Allen, he's my guy. Wish to God somehow we'd get him in Detroit. Then we can forget about extending golf.
You never know.
I think that's an exception the city
Yeah.
might make.
Buffalo's going to... The leprechaun, his luck has run out. All the things have gone his way for so long, the calls and everything, and his luck has run out. He's not done. I'm not saying he's never going to get another ring. He's just not going this year.
Right. Grandmaster B.
Well, this is the late Sunday game, 6:30 game, Kansas City. I'm taking the Bills, man. I'm going to take 28-24 Buffalo.
28-24 Buffalo. Everybody's on the train so far. Bills Mafia. Hollywood.
Damn you.
Damn you.
As much as I like Mahomes and everything, Josh Allen's tired 2 years in a row, sitting there on the bench in the fourth quarter going, what happened? Now you're coming to my home, and he's destined to win. He's slaying the Chiefs, and then all anarchy's going to start with the Chiefs. Swift, all that distractions and everything come to play. Bills, focused, move on with a 30-20 win.
Oh, decisively.
Going high.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Handle them.
I think this is where it all comes to the end for the Chiefs, too. I really do. I just think Buffalo is the hottest team in the league. You know, to go on that 6-game winning streak.
At the right time.
Win that playoff game. They handled Pittsburgh pretty convincingly. Josh Allen is just a freak of nature.
Yes.
When he's on, he's, top 2 quarterback in the league. I think there's just too many issues in KC. The receiving game is inconsistent. You got Travis Kelce. Mine's all pickled with Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah.
Andy Reid's mustache is going to be frozen again. Icicles hanging off it and everything else. So with that being said, I think the Bills win. I'm going to go with 27-14, actually.
All right, that's another close one. But I do have one question. Hollywood, but for $100, would you have licked Andy Reid's mustache?
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely no.
What about
You know.
for 100,000?
Take a little hit for that whisker.
How about for $5 million? So everybody has their price. Right?
Everybody's got a price.
So everybody's taking Buffalo. Everyone's not giving KC
Bills
a shot.
Mafia.
Bills Mafia. All
Bills
right.
Mafia.
All right, so going to the NFC now, we will go with the San Francisco 49ers hosting the red-hot Green Bay Packers, Paul.
Oh, this one I've gone back and forth on quite a bit. And because I want, and this is so hard to say, I want Green Bay to win so bad to give us another home game.
Why are you doing it, Paul? I can see where you're going with this already.
But San Fran is going to win.
Oh, wait.
San Francisco 38, Green Bay 34. It's going to be a very good game. But San Fran pulls it out. I would love for the Packers to win, but San Fran's going to win it.
There's keys there, man. If you can somehow contain McCaffrey, that team is very beatable. Baltimore showed it. If you can shut him down and rattle Purdy a little bit, anything's possible. And the way Green Bay's defense is playing, we'll have to see. All right, B, over to you.
Yeah, so as much as I want to see Green Bay beat Frisco, I'm going to take the 49ers. 31-20. Big game for San Francisco.
Decisive win.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a convincing win. Frisco's, they had that week off. They're rested. No game's easy in the NFL, but to go to that West Coast, even though, like Paul and I were talking before we started the show here, Green Bay's a hot team, man, but I have a feeling that the guy right off to my left over here is going in a different direction, huh?
What do you say?
What do you think, huh?
I got to go with Love. He's going to go down there in San Francisco, which they've already been off for a week. They're going to maintain McCaffrey. I think containing Debo is a big factor. And I believe there will be a key injury in that game. Unfortunately, sad. And Green Bay's going to pull it out. That secondary, I see 2 interceptions pick, Purdy. It's going to be a game changer. And I believe that game's going to come down to like a 28-21. And it's going to be one of the best games to see. I just think that Love, you see the third quarterback in 60 years Green Bay's blessed to have.
Man, you ain't kidding.
I'm telling you, that kid's something else with them young receivers. And
I didn't believe in him when he first came in. I just said it's impossible for them to get another great quarterback 3 in a row, and he's legit. Bottom line, this guy is legit.
And the way Jones and is running and Dillon, they look right back at it again.
Well, it's bad news for Lions fans. We've been scored for so many years.
Yeah, well, that's.
But I gotta go with the hot hand. I gotta go Frisco. I think it's going to be a close game. If you look at the last, I believe 6 or 7 Times they've met in the playoffs, San Francisco has won. It's been a long time since Green Bay beat them. That's just history, right? But it does tend to repeat itself at times. San Francisco, it's all or nothing with those guys. Everybody's healthy. If they did have some injuries, then I could totally go the other way because I think Green Bay's that good. But I got to go Frisco. I think 34-27. It'll come down to like a last drive. I do believe in love, but just not this weekend.
Two best friends going at each other. Shanahan and LeFleur.
LeFleur, yeah. That's right, yeah. McVay was part of that whole coaching tree. So it should be a great game, though.
Yeah, but one quick thing here, Philly. Didn't Frisco kind of get in a slump there for a while, too?
They did.
I mean, they got out of their slump, unlike the Philadelphia Eagles, who were, the pick for everybody to go on to the Super Bowl, and they just shit the bed at the end of the season. But San Francisco rebounded pretty well.
No, you're right. And I think Trent Williams is the best left tackle in the league. He was out for a few weeks. And then Deebo Samuel, who's like a Swiss Army knife, can do it all.
Yeah.
He was also injured. And I think, those guys can have a big impact on the offense. So I think their timing was off and they got rattled. Like Hollywood said, they're one injury away. It's been proven that if it does happen that way, they can be beat. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. So last one of the Elite Eight, the remaining 8. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield. Apparently they're on a revenge tour. Coming here to the Motor City to play our beloved Detroit Lions.
Got a good one for that one. Got a real good one for that one.
Oh, yeah. Paul, what do you got, sir? What's your gut telling you?
I got the Lions, of course. The Lions 34, Tampa Bay 28. So it's going to be a good game. All the Lions games from here on out, because they're going all the way, are going to be, none of them are going to be blowouts. They're going to be close. I just switched mine from a 31 to a 34. So I think it's going to be a real solid game, but the Lions come out on top. The home crowd's going to be too much for them. And the home crowd is so huge. Not to go backward and talk about Tampa, Green Bay again, but one of my biggest worries, I would rather, if the Lions don't go all the way, okay, they win this week, they go into San Fran, and maybe they come up short that way. That would be a hell of a lot better than if Green Bay came and beat us at home. That would be brutal. That scares me. So I got the Lions beating Green Bay and then going to San Fran after that. Beating Tampa Bay, I'm sorry.
Like it. GMB.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Lions in this game. A little bit closer of a game. I think, again, this will be a statement game for the Lions. It's going to be closer maybe than most people think. 26-19. I think we can get to Baker Mayfield, and we keep Evans contained. They got some pretty good ball players over there. But I think the Lions got a little bit better of a well-rounded football team right now. That defense could step up. They could put pressure on Baker Mayfield. I think it's ours to take. And, God, I hope you're right, Hollywood, because if Green Bay wins, that means we're playing a championship game here at Ford Field.
No doubt.
And that definitely will get any man bricked.
In the shadow of a doubt.
No doubt.
You don't say.
How I dare pick against my team right now.
Yeah.
They're just playing that kind of football.
Be tough to do. I think next week might pickle some minds, but not this week. Hollywood, what you got?
I got Detroit in fashion. I think that on all cylinders, Laporta's back. Gibbs is about ready to bust. I think he did it the first time when he played Tampa too. I see them guys really. I got to agree with McCann over here with 34 points. I think that's legit. But I only see Tampa Bay. I don't even see him hitting 20.
Wow.
I think the defense really steps up. Baker Mayfield gets rattled. He gets sacked 4 times. He gets intercepted twice. Maybe defensive return, fumble, interception for a touchdown. I think it just unravels in that crowd. He's not going to be able to hear false starts. It's going to be nuts. And they're just going to roll him, steamroll him. I believe it. I see it. I feel it.
I love it, and I'm right on board with you. I think this is going to be the equivalent to someone who's had blue balls for a long time, and it's just going to be an explosion of offense here. Okay?
And trick plays, a lot of trick plays, and the skipper going out there just to be a smart ass against Dallas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, you look at last week, how efficient they were on offense.
Yes.
But I think this is going to be a complete game because their defense, it could be good in spots, but at the end of the day, the Lions are number 3 in total offense, 2 in passing, 5 in rushing. I don't think Tampa Bay has anywhere near anything that could stop them. My only fear is the vertical pass game. Obviously, Tampa Bay can throw it deep. Evans, Godwin, good tight end. However, they're, sub 20 and everything. So with that being said, I got the Lions big, 41-30. Defense is going to give up a lot of points, a lot of trash yards at the end, but I think the Lions win convincingly. I really do. I feel really good about it.
It's not a bad pick, man. I think we're all on board. Gosh, can you imagine if we do end up... I mean, this is very doable, man. The Lions can literally have all the cards fall in place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We can actually host this championship game. There's only 4 quarterbacks in Super Bowl history that have started for 2 different teams.
They taste it. They taste it in their mouth.
Goff could be the 5th quarterback to go and be the only quarterback in history. There's only been 4 of these guys that have played on 2 different teams. You had Craig Morton, Dallas, Denver, Kurt Warner with the Rams, Peyton Manning, Colts in Denver, Brady, Patriots in Tampa.
You
Goff
light it
could
up
be
here.
the next guy.
If Goff lights it up here, I mean, like really lights it up and takes it by storm, then I could possibly see signing you for $40 million. But if you don't, the only contract you'll get is contract with incentives to build up that. Because I would not be able to, I got to see, this will be the big game here, how you take it by storm on a big contract.
Well, how about this, Hollywood? Ford Field hit a new record sound on Sunday. They broke the decibel record, 133.6 decibels.
Wow, that's way past.
We also had the highest TV rating since the Super Bowl of any game played since the Super Bowl. All playoffs included. The Lions Rams game was the highest rated viewer.
So are they going to cram a lot more people in this? They seat like about 62, right?
Standing room's going to be loaded.
Standing room, how it worked is this: there's a 65,000 seat capacity, but then you have, I think there's like 2,200 standing room spots, and that's in the upper concourses and the corners and certain other areas. But those are all complete. There's no tickets to be had unless it's on the secondary market right now. And standing room tickets are going for $575.
Wow.
My daughter was one of the people that had to spend the $550 last week, and we all thought, well, because it was the first ever game and all the glitz and glamour with Stafford and all this stuff, that ticket price is going to be extremely high, knowing that, and that this next game, it might come to reality. Well, guess what? That ain't the case. I think I told you this last week. I got offered $1,300 a ticket to sell to somebody, and I turned that down last week. That's $2,600. Could have sat home and watched the game and counted the cheese. Well, those same tickets went on average right now, where we were at, those are going for $2,100 and selling. I mean, they're not just sitting there like...
And it's going to go up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because it may be a once-in-a-lifetime. Guys, think about it. 30 years, man. It's been 30 years. I was at the first home playoff game at Silverdome, 1991. And it was the start of something special, the Barry Sanders era. The team is getting good. We're going to have a great football team for a decade, and we're going to enjoy this. And we didn't win anything after that. We made it to a few playoff games, but we never came back to play a home playoff game. We never won a playoff game. So this is special for the whole reason of a division game is a big deal. So the prices are way freaking up there right now.
And we never had a coach like this in Detroit.
And I love this coach.
No, I used to love Wayne Fonts back in the day, but he wasn't Campbell.
Yeah, no.
You mentioned, somebody said uncharted territory earlier. Yes, we're in uncharted territory like never before that none of us remember. Somebody got me a shirt that said waiting since 57, right?
Yeah,
I got one too.
It's been in my closet. I never wear it, and I never will wear it. Why? Because I wasn't there. How long have I been waiting? You've been waiting since 57. I've been waiting my whole fucking life.
Absolutely.
I've been waiting for all eternity. That's how long I've been waiting.
The Barry Sanders.
71.
And there was one guy that I know, Sal's a huge fan of this guy, Billy Sims.
Oh, yeah.
He actually, this guy,
yeah, he was great.
Does that look like Billy Sims to you?
Exactly.
It does. I mean, does that look like Billy's?
Exactly.
I mean, looks like Sal to me, but goddamn, look at it. He was such a good-looking man, wasn't he, though, Billy?
Billy was
It's
bad.
not going to stop at
Billy
that, Sal.
was
They only
bad.
get better from
I
here,
didn't know
man.
he was that handsome.
Yeah, that guy. If
Look
you
at this guy.
Come on. Tell you what. Yeah,
Billy
we're-
was phenomenal. He was
Oh,
special.
God, he was
Awesome.
special,
What,
man.
the
Great
one
player.
thing he had over Barry was he had that over the line freaking leap, man.
Yeah, remember that kick
Oh,
he did?
yes.
That one kick, Sal, when he came up and shit through that one. Boom, man.
No flag neither.
Hit him very hard.
See, and that's why I'm happy. I'm happy for guys that have been fans longer than me. Like seeing my man that was there in '57. Was he 66 years?
66
a major
year
focal
season
point,
ticket
yes.
holder.
Love
This
to
guy,
see it, man. Love to see it.
this guy could have bought fucking a whole hotel chain over 66 years, but he gave the money to the Detroit Lions like I have for the last 35. I got one trivia question for you guys.
The Kool-Aid runs deep.
Quarterback related. Who was the youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl?
Youngest?
Youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl.
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
No, it's not Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
Wow, you stumped the whole panel?
Well, this is why
it
I do
Brady?
this stuff. It was not Brady. Was the oldest at 45.
Well, he
Well-
won 7, though.
We're talking about the first.
Well, no, even when Brady won his first Super Bowl, he was not this young.
Do we get a hint?
Yeah, there's something hanging on your wall behind you.
Bobby
Oh,
Lane.
Big Ben.
Bobby
Ben
Lane.
Roethlisberger.
That's
was,
right, Big Ben.
Ben was
Oh,
20.
Big Ben?
Big Ben was
that's right.
23 years
That's
old,
right.
and that was Super Bowl 50 right
man.
here in Ford Field when they beat the Seattle Seahawks
In Detroit.
in
that's
Detroit.
right.
That was the youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl.
How about that?
And
That's
there's-
when the bus stopped
Stumped
here.
the whole panel, and I still wouldn't have got it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you do too many gummies, Paul. So here's real the other quick thing. 4 teams to never make it to a Super Bowl. Do we know who those are, Hollywood? You want to take a wild guess?
Cleveland Browns.
There you go. That's one of them. Which, by the way, eliminated from the playoffs. That was 3 of 4 are still in the. Well, yeah, 3 of 4 are still in.
Houston.
Houston.
Texans.
There you go.
Detroit.
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 And there's one more. Remember,
Minnesota.
they're still in the
Buffalo.
tournament. No, Buffalo. Wait a
Oh, no,
minute.
yeah, no, they were there. They lost. They never
Yeah.
won one.
They went.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went to many Super Bowls.
Minnesota.
Houston.
Oh, yeah, Houston.
So those are your 4 teams right there that's never played in a Super Bowl: Lions, Cleveland, Texans, and Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Did I say Houston?
I
Yeah.
said Houston.
You said
Um,
Houston. So
yeah,
Lions,
Jacksonville was the other
Cleveland,
one.
Texans, and Jacksonville. It's interesting. 32 teams, and those are only 4 that have not made it, and 2 of those are still viable right now.
So, good stuff there. Last thing we want to discuss, obviously, is this has been an unprecedented year of coaches making moves. I mean, we just had the 2 GOATs, relieved of their duties, Bill Belichick in New England, and then Nick Saban in Alabama retiring. So, and now you got Jim Harbaugh making his rounds. Do you guys ever remember such a star-studded coaching
No,
carousel?
not like this, no.
I mean, this is kind of crazy. It's like a turning of the tide,
Yeah.
It's a big wave.
Saban for a minute. I think this whole new wave of the transfer portal and things. I think it just really wore him out. He looked a little rough, and I'm glad we sent them packing. Go blue, baby, still. But Nick Saban, the greatest of all time in college for sure, and him and Bill are going to be talked about forever together.
Who's going to fill those shoes?
Caleb DeBoer from Washington. I don't know, man. I wish him the best of luck.
That's what they're doing?
Yep. Well,
Okay.
Yep.
He's already been nominated. He's gotten the nod. He's the coach. Yeah.
there.
Okay. Well, okay, so that's who's actually going to fill his shoes, but who can?
Right.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Was really.
Joe Hoff.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know they made a decision yet. I didn't follow that.
I think C. Rebel.
So-
C. Rebel started his coaching career. I think he might be next up, so-
You talk about coaching. So Washington, Vegas, Seattle, Chargers, New England, Tennessee, Carolina, all openings, right? You got one team right now that's on the cusp, which is Dallas. Is McCarthy still going to make the cut? Does
No.
Jerry say, fuck it, I'm done, and
He's
I'm moving
fired.
on, and gets Belichick here? Would Belichick go coach the Dallas Cowboys? It would give him the opportunity not only to break Shula's record, but he also have a shot at winning a Super Bowl because that's a pretty decent team. But is his personality good enough for a Jerry Jones who fucking he's a micromanager. He's a helicopter owner.
I think at that age,
he's always
he
around.
wants to win.
He's not like Sheila Hemp who just sits in the background, or some of these other owners.
You know what I
Could-
foresee there, though? You're going to have the NFL version of grumpy old men. with Jerry Jones and Bill Belichick. I just don't see
But it's great
it
theater,
working.
though, Philly. You think it could happen, though? You think Bill would pull it? Because you have to have more control.
He's going to make a move. McCarthy's gone.
You think so? They haven't announced it yet, but I think McCarthy's good.
I'm
But he's
surprised
won 12,
it hasn't
12 and
happened
5. He's
already.
been 3 seasons in a row. That's
don't
not
get
good
in the
enough.
playoffs.
It's a
Don't get in the
business, right?
playoffs, yeah.
It's a business.
You know, and it's be careful what you wish for. You know what I mean? Of course, because you can go through another sled.
Yeah.
But I see him actually. It's either going to be Bill or it's going to be a younger coach like a Ben Johnson or one of these coordinators. That's who I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
But what Bill could do with that team they have now, Ben Johnson may not be able to do.
It's true.
Right.
And Jerry doesn't want to wait.
He doesn't want to wait. No.
Yeah.
If he thinks Bill can put this together for what he's got,
Do you think Dak is secure?
I think so. I think so. Even though he's not winning the playoff games, I think it's going to be hard to move on from that deal.
I see Dak going somewhere else. I think he needs to. He's taken too much beating over there in Dallas. And, you know, especially feeling at times like he wasn't the man there. You know, always in loom. You know what I'm saying? Well, do we give him that money? And he waited out. And, you know, that puts a toll on somebody. You know what I mean? I just don't know.
Yeah. Hey, we got a caller on the line. Billy.
Hello.
Billy. Hey, this is Billy Nixon out of Brights Grove, Canada. Ontario, Canada.
Nice.
Billy, what's
How
up,
you
Billy?
doing?
Welcome to
Hey.
the podcast, man.
How's it going, guys?
It's going good, man. So we're sitting here talking Lions football, and you've been a fan for how long, Billy?
Well, let's put it this way: it was before I shot a spot into my old lady's underwear, because I'm going to be 66 in March. So they won. They won
wow.
something before I came on this earth.
Nice.
Yeah. So, what's your take on this game we just played here? This game we played against the Rams, and then maybe talk a little bit about this game coming up on Sunday against Tampa.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I never thought I'd see it before I croaked. You know, the old Fords there. You know, if they didn't have the bucks for us stupid people buying their damn vehicles, I mean, they shouldn't even have the damn team. They're just disrespectful to any Lions fan, as far as I'm concerned. But that's my personal opinion.
I agree
As
with
far
you,
as the
Bill.
game's concerned, as far as the game's concerned, Dan Campbell, hey, awesome choice, and so is the general manager guy there. They're doing a great job. You know what? I'll be honest with you, I was skeptic as hell, but I saw an 0-16 season before, and I saw before in the 80s when they didn't play Chuck Long. I saw before when they used up Billy Sims. I saw when they used up Barry Sanders, and they turned the fans against Barry Sanders, and he was the greatest running back that ever was. And in 2010, I had to stomach Emmitt Smith going into the Hall of Fame. So you tell me. You know, other than that, great game. But, you know, various times through the season, old Goff, man, his delivery, the way he throws, I thought there was something wrong with his arm. I still think his arm's not 100%. But but when he wants to thread the needle, God help him, he threads the needle. So it was a great win. I had a tear in my eye. And I think, you know, if Green Bay wants to do something to San Francisco, frickin' Lions could be in the Super Bowl, because I don't think Tampa's going to stop them.
Thank you, Bill. Like that. I'm with you.
Yeah, Billy, we got Hollywood, Philly, and our special guest here, Mr. Paul McCain. They're all listening in on this podcast with us here. And I love your takes.
How are you doing,
man.
guys?
How you doing, Billy?
How you doing, guys?
Excellent.
Hey, the Hollywood guy, it's kind of special, because Brian and I had a little chat there. And Hollywood, I just remember that Hollywood guy who used to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Hollywood Henderson.
That's right.
He had more he had more nose candy than they bring across the border in any given day.
Yes. So, Billy, you got to tell that story that we talked about briefly about the old Pontiac Silverdome, because you're a fan going all the way back to driving from Canada, going to these games, parking over there on Featherstone and Updike. And what happened there?
Oh yeah, hey, for sure. I mean, the little drive down 94, and you hop off at around 21 mile, and go down. I think it's Gratiot or whatever the hell it is, and you make a right hand turn, and the first street on the right hand side is Morgan Street or Fairchild Street, and when Morgan Fairchild was I mean, her boobs showed up before she did by a mile. But we used to always smile every time we went by there, and then stop Buscemi's and get some beer and ice and the odd couple pieces of pizza and park in the parking lot. Well, between having snowball fights, the one time I was talking to Brian, when I said to him, I said, hey, my buddy and I, we parked, this was in 1991, we parked watching a Minnesota Vikings game, and the Vikings were killing them. So we decided to leave and go out to the parking lot, because they parked inside the parking lot there, not in the cheaper parking. And, of course, we were boomboxing and having some fun drinking. So my boombox is gone. Oh, yeah, my buddy's wallet's gone. My wallet's gone with $500 in it, because I was going to buy some stuff to get ready to go to New Orleans the next weekend. And, what a howl. So we go to Pontiac, police walk in there. Lions score, Lions score, Lions score. And between the cops laughing at us for having shit happen and us leaving the game before the Lions actually won the game, it was not a treat going home, boys. It really wasn't.
So, Billy, that was what you parked your car at the Silverdome, and that's where they stole all your stuff?
Yeah, we parked. Yeah, we parked inside in the stadium lot. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. So who are you going to take in this game coming up on Sunday, Billy?
Well, I got to take Lions. Got to go with the Lions against Tampa. I call them Tampax Bay. Hey,
Billy, I got a question for you. Did you happen to be at that Monday night game at the Silverdome a long time ago? Remember what year that was?
Well, I've been at it.
He's been
I've been at a few of them.
How many times have we played Tampa Bay on Monday night?
I don't remember it.
Tampa Bay on Monday night.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay on Monday night. Holy.
That's
got to be, 97, 96, 97?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I just wanted to let you know I saw my first pair of tits there.
Oh, that's right.
You did?
I did, yes. It was an amazing thing.
Well, holy shit, man. You should have hung around with us, man. I used to coach baseball. We used to go to Minnesota, play the little Gophers, they called them. $1,000 a year per player, and they get to go to Japan or China or wherever they end up, and Hawaii and everything, right? Well, we were at that game when in Comiskey Park when what's his name there? He's got the funny disease now. He's kind of shaking and rolling there.
Kirk Gibson.
Mickey Mantle. What's his name? Mickey Mantle. The old coach used to call him there before his time. Gibson.
Yep.
It must have been a Tuesday or Monday night game when NBC had him. We're out there, and we're not even drinking beers or anything. We're out in right field, and there was tits everywhere. They had to watch the cameras, because the cameras were showing all the broads who were yelling at Gibson, "Hey, Gibby!" And he turned around, and they flash him, and he give him the thumbs up, and you know what I mean? It was hilarious.
Billy, were you hard? Were you hard?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's Gibby. Gibby found his wife at the Booby Trap bar.
Oh, that's right. Him and Dave Rosemond married strippers.
It makes sense.
Yeah, they married strippers, didn't they? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did from Grosse Pointe.
They were from Lansing.
Lansing.
Yeah.
Did he marry Dave Rosemond's sister or something, or what's there a reverse there or something?
Him and Rosemond married two sisters from Lansing. And
that's what it was.
They both worked at the Booby Trap at the time. They were strippers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think if Rosemond's still married, then they're both still married. Gibby's, it turned out great actually.
It worked out well.
Good marriage.
I wonder if she has a stripper pole in her bedroom still. You think? Maybe not. I don't know.
Next time I talk to Kirk, I'm going to ask.
Well, Rosemond's a howl, eh? Rosemond's a howl, eh? Because his claim to fame is trying to do a karate freaking kung fu chop with his legs, and what do you do? Blew out his knee or something?
Yeah, Dave
remember that with the Tigers?
Right. Yeah.
Winfield whipped his ass.
Yeah, he did something crazy like that. Well, hey, Billy, listen, man, we wanted to get this quick call into you. I told you probably around 8:30. We got to you a little bit early, but thanks for taking the call. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks, Billy.
Well, no, I just wish you guys lots of luck. I just and now I know where to find you guys. I'll be checking in on you every once in a while.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fives of the Week news desk. Rumple Brownskins reporting live. So, the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, ranked in a record $4.9 trillion in taxes from Americans in the last fiscal year, due in large part to automated collections processes and aggressive audits that saw taxpayers hit with billions in additional taxes.
And billions.
How do you guys feel about taxes in America?
Horrible.
Slightly high, huh?
Very high.
It's traumatizing.
It is. I almost dread every time like I get a bonus or something at work, because 40% of that motherfucker's coming out, and I mean, it's just the more you make, the more they take. It's tough.
Yeah,
it's real tough.
It's disgusting.
The land of the free, but you're going to pay.
You're gonna pay
one
for
way
it,
or another. Mm-hmm. You're going to pay.
Mm-hmm. And just a quick hit. You brought this up already, but 35.8 million viewers. TV's most watched primetime show since Super Bowl 57 was Sunday night's football game. It was absolute cinema, and it was great to see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huge.
And competing with a Super Bowl is definitely pretty cool. So how about this? Hollywood, your boy from Alabama. A man crashed his car outside a Bass Pro Shop, stripped down to his skivvies, and jumped in the fish tank.
Oh, God.
They had to pull this
That's
motherfucker out butt ass naked, man.
Redneck shit
Skiblets.
right there.
That's
boy.
skiblets.
I don't know what they're doing down there in Alabama.
They're fucked up. I know
I think
that.
he had to be drunk, right?
Oh, ain't no doubt about there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just some goofy ass news from
Damn
around the
southern
world.
border. That
Yeah,
damn
you know,
southern
they
border.
do all kind of shit down there in Alabama.
There's something going on with this Pro Bass Shop place, because there was another incident where a guy jumped into the fish tank and that same outfit and went in and stole the sturgeon.
For real?
He had a fish net and took a sturgeon out of its natural environment and walked right out the store.
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. There's something. It's all there. It's out there on YouTube.
Mush
People are nuts.
He
man.
got inspired by Weird Al.
like
Yeah.
a sturgeon.
That's it, man. Weird Al's an influencer for sure.
That's all I got, boys. Hollywood, what you got, bud?
This is Tom Brokaw. I've got the news around the world. Judge threatened to kick out Trump in the courtroom in the testimony of Eugene Carroll, and he said, "I would love it." He told the judge, "I'd love it," as he threatened him. Governor Debate deliberately says that there were wildfires set. Conspiracy theorist says he did 14 of them himself, so all them wildfires. And then Prince of Wales is in the hospital for 2 weeks after an abdominal surgery. The Prince of Wales.
You don't say.
You don't say. And
All right.
then they had Prince Charles had a very enlarged prostate that he's going in there for a medical procedure. Very large prostate. That's
Best
my
of
news,
luck.
boys.
Best of
I
luck.
just had a feeling somewhere along in this podcast we'd be talking about some ass, and there it is. We're talking ass. Is he okay though?
So far, I mean, he's got an enlarged prostate, so they're going to go in there and check it out and everything. See what's
Yeah.
up.
There's no fun with that, man.
Don't
What are we off
upset.
to here, Philly?
Off to you, bet.
All right, so a Mississippi slaughterhouse that supplies chicken to Chick-fil-A is directly to blame for the death of a 16-year-old worker. What are you doing at 16 years old working in a freaking chicken factory? Right? This is where this kid was at. So he was sucked into the equipment. This happened back in July,
God.
and he was killed within minutes.
Jesus.
The Occupational Safety and Health Administration said yesterday Duvan Perez, a 16-year-old worker, was cleaning the deboning area of the plant when his hand got caught and his body was pulled into this machinery.
Ugh.
So OSHA, an agency with the U.S. Labor Department, said this particular plant, Marjack Poultry in Georgia, had 14 serious violations in the past. They proposed they had to pay out over $200,000 worth of fines. And this young kid, this 16-year-old, when he was working there, he was the second person to accidentally die at that plant after getting sucked into the same machine within a 2-year period.
Wow.
This is a company that supplies all the chicken for Chick-fil-A. So, next time you're biting into a sandwich, you might want to check that thing out.
That's terrible. Shops like that. I used to do plastic injection molding when I was younger, and it had that big compressor in the machine.
Yes,
so you basically
yes.
had X amount of time to put the part in there and get out. And there was a guy who got his arm stuck in there. smashed his whole forearm from like here down.
Oh yeah, pin needles in and everything.
That's crazy, man.
It was always in the back of my mind. I was always extra careful. Might have fucked some parts up, but it wasn't worth my life.
No,
Yeah, no.
Implants are dangerous, man. I mean, Hollywood, you're around big machinery all day, right? You see the potential what could happen for, tragedy if people don't watch yourself. So
Absolutely.
This was something we talked about football here earlier. During the Tampa Bay Bucks press conference, Todd Bowles' news conference yesterday, a reporter cited the cold temperatures around the league. So this was a reporter, the head coach is up there, doing his press conference, and the reporter said, today it's 13 degrees in Detroit. Any special plans to, acclimate the team to not only endure but perform in those kinds of frigid temperatures should we face them in Detroit? And Bowles calmly responded, you do know they play indoors, right? They got a dome. So this reporter was worried about the weather and the climate of the game, and yet she had no clue that the Detroit Lions play indoors, which was... I don't know if she has a job today, though, Philly. It's kind of weird, right?
He said we only have to worry about it for the 20 seconds we're walking into the stadium.
I'm going to run this one by you guys because this is my last news piece here. So the questionable KFC commercial that got an NFL player in hot water. Did you guys hear about this?
No.
Okay, so brands pay big money, obviously, to advertise their wares during NFL games. And a recent KFC ad was featured on YouTube. Has seemingly backfired on this fast food chain, KFC. The ad features Kirk Cousins, quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, explaining to a reporter that NFL quarterbacks are prone to licking their fingers because of the extra licking, extra flavor that makes the KFC chicken so good. This was part of his skit in the commercial, and it says it makes his receivers work harder for the ball. So, I mean, you got to remember the world we live in now, guys. We're not talking about, it's a different world, right? So as Cousins makes this statement, it seems to be snacking on a bucket of KFC chicken. However, there's also an uncomfortable racial connotation associated with this commercial, right? So the rights activists are coming out, about this commercial being pulled, and it's kind of like we're living in this plastic bubble, and there's a certain group of people who are getting offended by this because it's saying, if you eat KFC fried chicken and lick them fingers, you're going to be a better receiver. So
finger licking good, man. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you guys think, but everything must be PC nowadays. It's got to be politically correct. So what's your guys' thoughts on that? Like, here's a big company that's trying to make light of a funny commercial, but it crossed a line that you and I, Paul, and Hollywood, and even you, Philly, we could put up with sitcoms, and we talked about the Jeffersons and all these different, the All in the Families. Everybody was okay to open to just be funny. So here's supposed to be a humorous commercial, but there's the other side that got really pissed off.
Somebody's going to get offended, yeah.
So what do you do? I mean, do you just nix those types of commercials and just go cookie cutter?
No, you keep them. You keep them. I mean, what about when they do it? Is all right?
They're going to do a story about chickens that are offended now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Flip my mic for me real quick.
flip your mic.
It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Is that
Yeah. Well, now I'm off.
now you're off? I can hear you. Well, I got to turn you back on here. So keep talking here, Philly. Are you there? Is that better?
Hello. Yeah, that's better. Okay.
There we go.
Kitty cat meow meow.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, don't let me into that because I'm not easily offended, man. I know I'm younger than everybody, but that's I just think people are soft. I really feel that way. So, got to see it for what it is. Try to take things lighthearted, not so to the heart. And I think more and more people need to do that, and it just you see less and less of it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit that I'm sure you guys seen back in the day that just would not fly. You just can't get away with now.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because it's not necessarily there in malice, but to crack a joke
tickles your fancies.
Yeah, like some of the shit, that me and my boys say to each other, we'd probably get canceled for if we said on air, but we don't take it like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
So, I don't know.
I agree. I just think that people maybe just loosen up a little bit. Don't take it so for face value. It's just kind of the way of the world now, but I just found that to be one of those like newsworthy things to mention because, everything now has got to be so perfect, and everything we do and how we say it. And if it's not right, then, we're going to have to redo the whole thing and change it up again,
Yeah.
So that's all I had for news.
Good stuff. Paul, what you want to talk about?
I really don't have any news. That one story was my one story about the Tampa Bay coach. And that reporter had to feel like a dumbass afterwards, but you got to be on your game a little bit better than that. This year, when we went into Minnesota, I was reading something on one of the Lions pages, and somebody commented about, well, how are we going to do in the cold weather and this, that, and he's just really carrying on about it. And, like, everybody just jumped on his ass because they're like, dude, you know they play in a dome, right?
Yeah.
So it was the same type of thing. But,
Yeah, man.
But
Feel about that big, like
somebody's going to get offended on anything. I mean, there were actual freaking Lions that were offended for a lot of years and wanted to have the name of the team changed, okay? So until this recent success, literal Lions were offended for a while.
That's true.
So-
You're not lying. You're not lying.
But think about it. The Redskins changed their names. The Chiefs don't change their names.
Right. Yeah, I thought about that too.
Yeah, I mean, what the Guardians instead of the Indians? I mean, we talked about this. Like, there's that PC thing. It's like,
There are native Indians that are mad about that they took the Redskin thing off. So there's that too. I'm not speaking for the Indians, but
It goes both ways, I'm sure. Yeah, it's something that's been around, part of history, sports history, American history. And, to strip it, if that group, whatever, it's that big of a deal to them, then you got to do what you got to do. But if it's just activists or whatever, I think that's just extreme.
I never complained one time about the Fighting Irish. And now that I think about it, that's kind of pissing me off.
And I'm on an equal platform, Paul. I'm offended by the White Sox. Why ain't there Black Sox?
Yeah.
How you feel about them Padres, man?
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Santa Padre.
Come on, man.
Santo Padre.
One thing I want to bring up, it's kind of sports related, but Kurt Warner was on a podcast, and he had an idea for the playoffs. Because obviously with Buffalo, you see how they had to dig out their seats.
Yeah, man,
They
that
bring
was
shovels
nuts.
to the stadium. He thinks that to get the best football, postseason games should be played at a neutral field indoors. Do you think that would ever fly?
I think it could. I think they could make it happen.
In order to get the best out of both teams,
Yeah, I think it could.
level weather. Obviously, fan base kind of gets screwed, but as long as you offer X amount of tickets to the home team or whatever,
Yeah,
I don't know how you would do it.
Yeah.
It probably will, but what do you do with those Buffalo fans or those Green Bay fans? That's the bigger problem.
Yeah.
They don't get that experience. I mean, them Green Bay fans ain't giving that up.
Yeah.
And neither are the Buffalo fans and so on.
But what
So-
happens when they go to the Super Bowl and it's in Vegas and you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
so
There you go. I was going to say
Yeah, that part, you don't have a choice in that, but up until that time, if you've got the home field advantage, they don't want to borrow the Minnesota's dome.
And that happened.
True.
Remember, Metrodome roof collapsed. They had to play a game at Ford
Yeah.
Field, but I don't know if that. So that every team that has a stadium are going to have to put a dome on it, then, or a neutral
Yeah.
site or whatever. But I think, like what Paul just said, if the Green Bay Packers have history of playing outdoors in the frozen tundra,
That's what they like.
or the Chiefs, playing where they play, there's something special about that atmosphere. And hey, man, it's just part of the game.
you got to play in them.
You're an outdoor team.
I think the elements have always been a part of it. You don't want to take that part of the game away, especially in the playoffs. Like that Kansas City-Miami game, you could just tell Miami wasn't going to win that game regardless, but they were different because of the cold, due to injuries, because they're a fast-paced team. That game could be different if you're on turf.
That coach didn't even look like a real coach. He had those yellow aviator glasses on. He looked like he just wanted to go home, man.
It sounds good in
What about the
hindsight.
football game when they had nobody in the stands? Remember that?
Yeah.
COVID?
Yep.
That was horrible. Wrestling,
Yeah.
same thing. Nobody there.
Who said
knows?
that? Kurt Warner?
Kurt Warner,
I didn't
yeah.
see that. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I don't know what podcast it was, but there was a clip I watched. I just found it interesting. It's an idea that
Yeah.
maybe years down the road, when you got all this AI and shit, designs, and
I'm sure it'll
different
change.
things that they could do. Maybe one year
I
or
can
one
tell you
time down
this.
the line, it'll happen.
I was glad we were indoors for our playoff game because I
Oh,
could
yeah.
never imagine sitting out in that 10-degree fucking wind.
I
That
think we
was
should have a
miserable.
retractable roof on Ford Field.
I would have loved that. We talked about that too when
Yeah.
they built that
I think
stadium.
everyone's going to start doing it. I believe every team is going to have that option. Close it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be cool, man.
Yeah.
Kind of like a sunroof in your truck. Just
Yeah.
hit that button. Maybe it's a nice day out. Let's open it up and get
Yeah.
some air.
They say
Yeah,
it's a
the
lot
Packers. The Packers, they could build a new stadium, or
Yeah.
they could revamp that thing.
of work. Right.
Same thing with the Bills and them other places. So
Right. One last life question. Had a conversation with somebody about. So you know the glass half full, half empty thing. So let's go around the table and just your take on that. Paul, are you a glass half full or half empty guy?
I'm a glass half full guy. I believe that, and I hope other people see it that way. That's, people's perception can be inaccurate.
For sure. No, of course.
Dangerous, man.
Dangerous, man.
So I'm a glass half full guy. That's the only way to be, in my opinion.
I agree, but
have a positive outlook on things.
I'm sure you've met umpteen people that go the other way, though, over the years. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all know somebody that's that way. You call them pessimists, I guess.
Yes.
Or Eeyore.
Yeah, just
The
negative,
Eeyores.
Looking at
Negative Nancy.
Could have more, though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think at times, maybe in your life, you can fall into that or whatever, but, yeah, you always got to look at the pros, man. I think because it always outweighs.
Yeah, at times... everyone can also be a pessimist,
sure.
And you have to be either picked up by your friends and people around you, or you have to catch yourself and get right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I like it.
Yeah, the optimist is the way to go.
For sure. Well, we've been optimists as Lions fans for how long? So
I'm definitely a half full guy.
Every year, super excited. Every year.
And that and just overall in general. Damn Hollywood! I should have brought my sunglasses.
Just a different feeling this time around, though. Total different feeling.
Yeah.
It was from
nothing like I've ever felt before.
Right.
Hard.
Completely different. Yes.
We're all bricked up.
I wonder if Cheech is bricked. Hey, Cheech, are you bricked right now?
What up, Cheech?
What up?
He's always bricked.
Ready for the fives of the week, B?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't have the intro though. I didn't put it in there.
Damn.
Should we stop it and put it in?
No, keep rolling.
All right, we're going to keep rolling.
All right, y'all. It's now time for the fives of the week. As always, brought to you by 24th Street Pizza, episode 110. So today we're doing a blast from the past.
Oh, yeah.
Flashback 30 years in honor of the Lions playoff win 32 years ago. So with that being said, Grandmaster B, this was your call, so go ahead and kick it off for us.
Yes. Things I remember from the era of the last time I experienced a winning football team in Detroit. The Lions beat January 5th, 1992, the Pontiac Silverdome, 38-6 win. It was the final year of the Cold War of 1947. Paul, and you and I talked about this. This was when the Soviet Union collapsed. This was a big deal.
The Berlin Wall came down.
This was like history in the making, and it was like, think back to 1947. Hell, I wasn't around.
I saw the Berlin Wall in 1989, and I never thought it was coming down.
There you go.
And it came down very shortly after that.
It's amazing. So that was part of history. I mean, I remember that. And you said you seen the Berlin Wall?
I did. It looked like the Lodge Freeway where I was at. It was actually two walls.
Okay, continue.
People were guarding each other on both sides. There were Russians on the other side at that particular time. I was visiting a friend who had duty on the Berlin Wall. So there was actually a wall there and a wall here and an area in between. And there was obstacles and wire and all this stuff and towers, and you have armed guys guarding each other. And I'm sitting there talking to my friend. The American GI is motioning to the Russian guy. They're kind of communicating back and forth. I'm like, what are they doing? He goes, just watch this. Dude, he shoulders his M16. He takes a pack of Marlboros out, puts and tapes them to a rock, and chucks them over to the Russian guy.
He was feeding him some smokes?
Yeah.
Really?
He threw some shitty cigarettes back, just to be polite.
Yeah.
It was a trade.
Wow.
So they shouldered their weapon to stop guarding each other long enough to exchange cigarettes. It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
It's interesting. Now, the Berlin Wall still exists, right? It's not down.
No.
Like, is there part of it left for I
don't think there's anything left. I wasn't there when it was taken down. I only saw what was on the news, but they tore it down.
Wow,
yeah,
the whole entire thing.
Yeah, it was built to separate East Germany from West Germany. So you had the East Germans and the communists on that side, and you had the Americans on this side and the West Germans.
Interesting.
On that side.
That's pretty cool.
So,
Paul, go ahead. We'll just go back that way.
Yeah, so I didn't know if the topic was during that era when they won it or from then till now. So I remember some things. Current at that time, the big thing in music was the grunge era.
Yeah.
So grunge music
absolutely.
was at its pinnacle, really.
Nirvana.
And, I was a new family man, so I wasn't into the music as much as I was prior, but I got sucked right in. I was a Pearl Jam guy.
Yeah.
Was my favorite of the grunge bands, but what I actually liked was the flannel shirts. That's what I liked when I was a teenager, and that came back in style now.
Yeah.
So every 10 years something happened. 91, 92, actually, if you fast forward 10 more years from 91 to 01, you got 9/11.
That's right.
But just prior to that, what was the big deal? Y2K, remember that?
Yeah, yes.
Going from that was a big deal.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
So another 10 years from there, from to 2011 now. What happened in 2011? I had something on my mind there. Flip 10 more years from that point, you pretty much land at 2020,
Yeah, we all know what happened there.
2020.
and that changed the whole world right there.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of stuff in between as well.
I love Pearl Jam, by the way. One of my favorite groups right there.
Oh, yeah.
How about Nirvana? Did you like them guys?
Yeah, Nirvana, I got into them a little later. I didn't like them as much in the beginning because they were almost like feuding for a little while, almost like you're almost on one side or the other. But so I ended up liking the grunge music.
Like
Very
it
cool,
too.
man.
I ended up. I was when the Lions West won. I think I was 6, so this was a little bit more difficult for me. But I'm going back to when I was a kid, and believe it or not, like when I used to go to Nana and Papa's house, they would always have the night shows on, right? So this was back when Jay Leno took over for Johnny Carson, and I remember my grandpa talking about that. And every time I was over there, he'd have it on, and that was 1992. That was the year of. So that's one thing I'll always remember from that time. The Jay Leno show, the chin and all. Are you guys Jay Leno fans or no?
Yes.
He's all right. Yeah, he had that big old jaw, big old gipper.
Good old Pelican. I like Johnny Carson, but that's going back. But
Yeah.
Jay Leno was all right. I mean, he was the guy that took over for Johnny Carson, right?
Yeah.
Carson was
But
bad.
I remember
See,
you talking.
Grandmaster B, he has selective hearing. He never listens to me. I literally just said that.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, you asked me a question, so I'm going to answer it. So for me, I think Jay Leno was good, but he wasn't as good as Johnny Carson. He was the originator.
How about Letterman?
I was okay with Letterman. His humor was a little bit different. It's kind of like Fallon and Kimmel right now.
Right.
Like they're both good at what they do, but I favor Jimmy Fallon more because I like Jimmy Fallon's impersonations, and I think he's just got this wittier personality where the other one, Jimmy Kimmel, to me, kind of went left. Like he just became real over-liberal. So he moved out to California. He was a New York guy. And he kind of lost his bearings somewhere when he moved out to L.A. He just lost his scruples, you know.
I thought the Man Show Jimmy Kimmel was dope.
That's
but
when
now,
he was good,
yeah.
when he was in New York. That's when
Yeah.
he was at his best with Adam Carolla.
Right.
That's when it was the funniest
Yeah.
shit. But now it's like, I can't, you know. I'm more of a Jimmy Fallon guy.
All right, Hollywood, over to you.
I would say the 90s is Clinton's
Oh, yeah.
president,
92.
Mr. Bill Clinton.
I did not have sex with that woman.
And
That-
he did not inhale either, apparently.
Didn't do it.
I mean, that was powerful. I remember when he won, and it was just electrifying. What times were back then? So good. Everyone's working, and it was just amazing time. You know what I mean? What a good president.
There were people so pumped when he got elected. I remember listening to older people, and I couldn't understand the euphoria. And it was a big time when he took over.
I like that when he ran
big
the
time.
thing, and it was "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow," and they were it was sweet, bittersweet. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Clintons.
he's famous for saying he didn't inhale, and I can't help but think about one of the best political lines I heard later on was when they asked Barack Obama the same question, and he goes, "I thought that was the purpose," you know. So he knew Clinton made a mistake by saying that, and he
Barack
thought that's why you did it. You know? So,
Barack was pretty witty, though.
he was very sharp.
All right, B, back over to you.
So Bill Clinton, 92.
Good old Bill
That's when
Clinton.
he
So,
came up.
1991, the World Wide Web was launched to the public. Microsoft.com went online. And remember AOL? I mean, AOL was around since 1983, but they got hot in 93 with the chats and the online content. They still exist today, believe it or not. Verizon actually bought AOL. Yeah, they're the ones who own them, and there's still people that use AOL emails still. I actually had one of my customers, I said, "Hey, I need your email so I could send this file to you." And he gives me this, and it's AOL.com. And I looked at him like, dude, when's the last time you changed your emails? Oh, I fucking had this email for like 25 years.
There's a lot of them. I don't have that. I'm surprised.
Yeah, but
I still do.
There's tons of them.
that was the start of the madness. The whole online thing. Now we're online with everything. Now the access to Google and all this other shit. But that was like the very beginnings of it, right there, right in that early 90s, man. So I remember not only the Lions playing good football, but then all this technology started to come around. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah. Remember the dial-up?
Oh, yeah. I thought that was Andy for a minute there. I'm like, what the hell's going on, man? And I didn't even know him back then.
That's a good one. So, Paul, what else you remember from the early 90s, man?
The 90s were a good time. The problem with me in the 90s, I became single in 92. So, and I didn't get married again until 2005. So that from the time I was like 24 all the way the rest of the 90s was kind of a blur. I mean, I lived kind of in a microcosm, man. I lived like a rock star in the 90s.
Nice.
Come on,
I was able to
more.
work like 2 weeks and then party 2 weeks. So it wasn't
he's
like
a married man. He's trying to keep it close to the vest.
How long have you been married?
17 years.
All right, that's enough to be in trouble. So
If my math is right.
We'll keep it off the table for now.
So, all right, I'll pick it back up. Blockbuster. I just remember as a kid, every weekend we go to raid Blockbuster, making sure, hoping that one movie we wanted to see, that one video game was there, man. Blockbuster was huge back in the day. Grab your popcorn.
Oh, someone else has got that, man. How long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Them snacks, them late rentals were no joke, though, man. You turn that bitch in late, you're in trouble. But,
Be kind, rewind.
the company expanded internationally in the 90s, and 84,000 jobs, 9,000 stores. And I think, obviously, with new technology, it wasn't able to go into the next millennium per se.
Who would have thought that when you seen how big Blockbuster was?
Yeah.
Like, you never would have thought that it's just gone.
Yep.
Sad.
Right.
Very sad.
Yeah.
So that's number 2 for me. Hollywood, back to you, Braz.
Well, this was a good one for me. This when I was rolling, 1994, when them beepers were coming out real heavy, and there were 64 million beepers at that time, just out and about. I mean, that was the thing to have. That beep, 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 beep.
So it beeped with a number, and you knew which number to call. That's how it
So,
worked, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
beepers.
was- yes, beepers were. Cell phones weren't even. You know what I mean? It was having that beeper. Let me go get to the payphone.
I'm getting that
it was-
call, baby.
It was a big deal. You felt important. I mean, if you go back quite a bit before 64 million people had it, only doctors had them. That was it. You didn't know anyone that wasn't a doctor, and nobody knew a doctor,
Oh yeah.
But only doctors had them.
Your girl's calling, Sal.
You're like, oh man, let me see. Okay, I'll get back with her.
And then you'd have to go to a payphone
Yep.
Yes.
and drop dimes.
There was a payphone
Like Danny Dimes.
over on 11 Mile Road in Little Mac by this gas station about 6 years ago, and I was honored to go to it, and it worked. A payphone, you don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
and that's sad.
Right.
That is sad, man.
It's wild.
It's crazy, man, how much that evolution of technology.
Remember the one at 12 in Gratiot?
Oh, yeah.
Used to be over there?
Yeah.
People would be hitting that on. I'd be like, oh, man, I seen you up at the payphone, man.
Yeah, that's pretty before hand sanitizer
Oh,
became
yeah,
anything.
yeah,
Like, I don't
yeah.
know
Well,
what the
when-
hell was on this phone, man.
when
But I
not-
need a wet wipe.
Right.
It was
When
pretty
not
rough.
everybody had a car phone, you just pull your car up to one of those.
Yeah,
Pull it
absolutely,
in, roll your
man.
window up,
Yeah,
you're in
what's
there.
going on?
I actually put that down, man. Cell phones weighed about 4 pounds. In 1992, IBM had a phone called the Simon. The Motorola had what they called the StarTAC that looked like a brick. The Nokia 8110.
bricked.
It was
Star.
you remember this, Paul. It was one of those like G.I. Joe phones, man.
Yeah.
That was the start of the cell phone. And it was like $5 a minute to use the thing. It was some ridiculous amount of money because we didn't have the cell towers like we have now. And there's no data plans, and the technology was so old. But if you were somebody special, if you had an actual cell phone, and remember the little antennas they put on the back of your car, the
Right.
little black antenna. Even if you didn't have a phone, you'd buy one of those fake ones and make it look like you had one, so you look cool.
Right.
At least I did. I mean, I was like,
Right.
"Where's AutoZone? I got to get me a fake
And
antenna."
those phones look like the $6 Million Man. Remember Oscar?
Yeah.
Thing and,
Yeah, like a little
yeah.
duffel bag you carry around.
Hello.
It was ridiculous, man. That's a good one. Is it off to me here, Philly? Where are we at?
Is that what you just did or no? The phone?
Well, I just went off the same one he did. But
Oh,
I put-
okay.
Yeah, no, projection TVs, best known as the CRTs, are projected on the screen. These large, very heavy.
Large.
We had the on-the-floor consoles, but then in 91, 92, they started coming out these projection TVs, which we talked about this before, right, Sal? So we talk about these, Sony, these things weighed. Papa and I still have one in my mom's house right now.
Oh, yeah. they're
It's
like
got a
this
beautiful
deep.
picture.
Yeah.
They're like this deep. That's
Yeah,
right.
these things are cabinets, dude. This is like
Yeah.
fucking furniture, man. And these things, they didn't have the best picture. There's no high definition or anything, so you had to kind of dial in the red, the blue.
You couldn't be off to the side.
No,
Right,
man, you
right,
would
right.
not
Yeah,
get a
absolutely.
good picture.
Remember that.
But you had a 50-inch TV, and if you had one of those in your house, all your friends would be like, "Wow, man, you guys got a movie theater in your house?" Like, no.
So
it's
the
a
king
piece-
spot was at the center of the couch.
Oh, that's where
That
Dad
was
sat.
right in
No,
the-
you would not be taking over the chair. You'd definitely be moving off to the side and get that shitty view like Sal was talking about. But man, I'll tell you, those were like, I remember when my parents got their first one, and I think it was like Art Van or somebody. It's like there's like 5 guys bringing this thing in. It's like, hold on, I gotta put it down my back. It's like, what the hell are you buying? A fucking bedroom set? No, it's a TV. No, it's huge, man. So that was my one right there.
No, that's good. I know there's obviously that age gap, so I'm going to go way back too, but they actually got big in 84. It was actually the Power Wheels Jeeps. As a kid, when I got my first one, man, I was just elated. It was really big in the 90s. They used to sell over 1 million units per year. So
They
I
were
remember when I
popular.
got one of those for, I think it was my birthday, man. I was tickled pink.
Were you pimping? Did you have curb feelers on it
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff?
man.
Yeah, get yourself a little.
Had the
little-
chain on, a wife beating on,
Oh,
riding down the street
yeah,
saying hi to
man.
my friends. You know what I'm saying, man?
Yeah, I went over to Mickey Shore, had a sound system put in.
Mickey Shore.
I'm sad, man.
I want that
Power wheel,
Alpine,
man.
man.
There was
Put
a
it
thing
in.
called Mickey Shore too.
Yes, that's going back, man.
Yeah. You went to making sure you was bad.
Yeah.
Getting that Kenwood installed.
Right.
Right.
I had the realistic from RC. What was it called?
That was not quite as good as Alpine. That was kind
No,
of like that's
no.
the one you
Realistic
go-
was the entry
You
level.
go to like Kmart and get that one, right? That's where you
Right.
go get the realistic. I think that might have been.
There
the
was a
brand
certain
back then.
store you got realistic. I can't think of it.
Was
I'll
it?
think of it later.
There was a place on Little Mac. Was it Media Play?
Yeah,
They used to have shit there too.
Cartoons is still around. ain't they?
JVC.
Cartoons. Yeah, that was another one.
Yeah.
Polk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had the Alpine in that '92 Lumina. I had.
They didn't even know what Bose was back then. They didn't know what Bose, man.
Oh, but ain't no Bose, man.
Then the alarms became the real popular thing. Like you had that fob, like you'd be playing chirps. So they're like, man, what is that? It's my alarm, man. I'm arming out this car. Ain't worth more than $500, but you had an alarm on it, man. You were somebody special, right? Like, okay, I'm with you.
Tab you.
When did Spinners come out? Was that in the 90s? What? Remember when Spreewell?
All the rims, yeah.
Spreewell came out. Was that in the 90s?
I want to say that was late '90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a Hummer with spinners on it.
Latrell Sprewell, bit.
Yeah,
Remember that?
I'm talking back about 1996, but
Yeah, but
Them spinners are still they're still around in L.A., man.
you still see them on grass every now and then. But man,
Them Chicos out there got them shit on all their cars out there. I was like, and they're beautiful cars. These are like cars going back to like the 70s and 80s.
Oh, you know, down
Mint.
there in Palos.
Oh my God, they're beautiful, man. Beautiful sleds.
yeah. All right, Apple Snooch, back to you.
The 90s, I'm going to say, is when I started my job at Chrysler, 1993. That was the beginning to a 30-year tenure, going on 31. Unbelievable.
Congratulations.
That's wonderful.
Unbelievable.
That's
Can't even believe where time went.
accomplishment.
Unreal. And that was in the beginning of 93. That era of the 90s, it was pretty... Yeah.
Did you think when you set foot in there, when your dad got you in the door, did you think that you'd be there that long? Did you at one point go like, why am I doing this? Do I want to be here?
No, I
anymore?
never... I
You
thought
loved it so much?
I got in there. I seen what it was about. You know, you seen the money, the movement of the money, like it was good. And you go, them checks were nice, And then I was just like, man, is this really me? And that's when I was fighting and everything. And either I'm going to go pro and do this, and I have to leave my family. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm in between. I'm teeter-tottering, and I'm like, damn. Then my son got sick, and he was born sick, and I had to make a decision. And I had to stay, and it's like, at that time, you were like, I could have made tons of money, you know what I mean? But family was more important, and in the end, when I look at it, it's like, well, it was meant for me, I guess, to be an auto worker, and I got a great job. And, when you look at it and you look back, me and my buddy Joe would talk, like, man, we had 1 year, and dude, we got 1 year. Can you see yourself doing this? I don't know, man. I don't think so. You know what I mean? You just didn't see
30
yourself.
years go by. Like
Yeah,
that.
and when them guys would tell you, hey, blink of an eye, you'll be there, and you'll see what we're talking about, you realize it's the truth.
Time does fly.
It does,
Yes,
man.
it said it don't stop.
Congratulations. That's a hell of an accomplishment, man.
Yeah.
Me and myself, I've had probably 10 jobs in 30 years, but, that's... I just get short shelf life. I just, me. It's like...
I never thought I would be at one job for that long. Like, you know what I'm saying?
My wife's dad retired from Chrysler, and he said the same thing. He didn't think it was going to be 5 years for sure. It'd be a couple years, and he did retire right on his 30th. Immediately, and many times he said he wished he would have stayed for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, his dad, Mr. Rubio, he's how many years?
51.
51 years.
yeah,
Done, yeah.
51. But he's done now, right?
Yeah, he's leaving. He's
What-
got maybe a week.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, wow.
So it's near
This
now.
is- this is it. He's retiring.
right?
Yeah, it's done.
How does he
gonna-
feel about it?
Yeah.
He's ready. He said, I'm ready. It's time. It's time. Yeah.
good for him. He's ready.
Do you think
Yeah.
if he retires before the Super Bowl, he'll actually go out to Vegas and watch the Super Bowl?
No, probably not.
You
No.
want to do that? See,
No.
that'd be my freaking way to exit. I'd be like, I'm going out to
No.
the Super Bowl. Fuck it, man. your dad's doing all right with the cheese,
Yeah.
man. He'd be all right.
Yeah.
Grab that loot,
He
man.
said, I'm going to sit in my chair, man, and watch it.
Yeah. Give me that new 85, man.
All right, B, what else you got over there?
Let's see. Number one song in 1991. Bryan Adams, Everything I Do It For You. Anybody remember Bryan Adams?
Yes,
I
Very
remember
good.
Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
And
a
then,
Canadian.
Yeah, he is Canadian. And
Very
in
good. Very good.
1992, falling in that same category. Whitney Houston, I'll Always Love You. That was the number one song. So those songs seem so old to me now, but then it doesn't seem too long ago. But then you put the 30-year thing in perspective. That's why I was like, man, that just goes by really fast, and that's over. And the last thing I really had was like these hairstyles, because you mentioned about the grunge, right? So there
Right.
was, I think they had names for these men's. They called it the flipped ends, which was the grunge look for a man. They had a bowl cut. That was a hot hairdo back in the 90s. And then the Caesar cut, and then the spiky hair. That was all men's hairstyles. And for women, it was the pixie cut, the crimped women that crimp their hair a lot. You see that was really popular back in the early 90s. And the Rachel hair, which is made famous by Jennifer Aniston from the 1994 show Friends. So when Jennifer Aniston was on Friends and everyone sees this beautiful looking woman, I want her hairdo. And that became a big popular hairdo back in those days.
So for us, it was the bowl cut. My mom had us in. She always had that LA Looks on deck press, for the spike look.
And that was a legitimate bowl cut, because I've known you kids my whole life, and when I seen the first bowl cut that poor Nick got, I'm like, what did you just literally take the Tupperware bowl?
You're about to cut my hair,
like stick it on top of your son's head and etch a line around it. This poor kid was traumatized for about 2 months.
Yeah, my brother's looking like Dumb and Dumber, man. Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah, you know, guys.
It was rough, man. That shit happens, though.
No, that's cool, though. So my last couple, the big one, obviously, as a kid, is Super Nintendo, released in 91. Quickly became the most popular gaming system since Atari, which I'm sure you guys know and love. Super Mario, Street Fighter, Donkey Kong, all that stuff, man. It was actually somewhat affordable back then, $200, but now these systems go for like $7,000 to $1,000. So just shows you how much time has changed. And my last one was also AOL, obviously.
Yeah. Good old AOL. So we got to bring one more caller on here. So if you don't mind, here, let's get this dude on the phone here.
Fives of the Week podcast.
Oh boy, C-Rebel.
Oh boy, C-Rebel. C-Rebel down here.
Your fan club is here. So C-Rebel, we are talking on the Fives of the Week this week. Blast from the past. So we went down memory lane a little bit here tonight. We have special guest in studio tonight, Mr. Paul McCain. Say hello to Paul.
Hello, Paul. I'm sorry you had to deal with those guys tonight.
At least he's
No
being
problem,
honest. And of
C-Rebel.
course, the great Hollywood and
Sacrifice ahead of me.
We're all here. So, C-Rebel, take us back down your memory lane, if you will, and talk to us about what you remember most about that era when the Lions won their last playoff game prior to this one on this past Sunday. What things do you remember back from the 90s?
That era, God, from the 90s when the Lions were in the playoffs, I remember trying to match an outfit to my pager I had to have, change the different colors. Remember the pager you used to have with the different colors?
Yeah.
And you had to match the pager to your belt loop. You couldn't have a black one because it didn't match everything. You had to get the neon colored one. Then and then if you had white shoes on, you had to get an off-white side cover for it. I remember.
Yeah, you know about that page a bit.
Oh yeah, I remember that page. And you used to pretend like it would go off, even though it really didn't even have any service to it. You would turn it off and back on just so it would go dee 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 dee. Oh, somebody paged me. So it didn't have service to it.
Girl paged me, man.
Right. Hey, I gotta go, y'all. And then I remember watching the Lions game on my old. Remember, kids don't even know what this is anymore. The old 4 model TVs. I'm not talking about the projection screen flat model 4Ds. I'm talking old school flat screen TVs that you could put a tree on top of for a decoration because it was a coffee table to go with it.
Yes.
That's what I watched the Lions beat the Dallas Cowboys
that old
on.
floor model.
Yeah.
Right. My dad had a ceramic panther on it with a tree growing on top of the tree. It also doubled as an antenna.
That was badass, man.
That was the era. That was the era I grew up and watching the Lions. Watching win in 1991. I thought it was going to be like that forever.
Well, C-Rebel, since we're kind of on the Lions kick, man. So, what are your thoughts on the game? Obviously, Tampa Bay coming into town, man, and give us your predictions and thoughts.
I'm not really sure. Are they still in the playoffs? I haven't been watching. I'm kidding. I know that did. It sounded better in my head than when I actually said it. You know what I mean? Either that, or you're just a tough crowd.
Don't bring this guy back.
Dude, it's great. It's the first time in the history of the organization they played this late in January. Let alone the first time in the history they've had back-to-back home playoff games. Wow. I can't even believe it's happening. You know what I mean? It's like, and then my son's like, "Oh yeah, this is great. It's gonna be fun." It's like, yeah, I'm glad you didn't have to wait as long as I did to have this happen.
Yeah, you're right.
100%.
Right. So, I mean, it's great times. I believe that they got the actual. Sheila Ford Hamp, when is she going to get her props? She changed the whole organization.
Yes, she did.
And remember, they booed her when they retired Calvin Johnson. Remember, they booed her on the field.
Right.
They need to they need to give her some praise on that, because she's the one that brought all this in, and the way that front office has drafted all these young rookies, and that game and that playoff game was won by our rookies.
Oh yeah,
that's who it was. And now I hear you got Houston coming back for this game on top of it. It just, I don't know. It almost seems like it's not real. Almost like, no, come on, Lions aren't still playing football.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they are.
That's how we felt after the game. It's like you're waiting for someone to smack you and wake you up a little bit.
Yeah,
like
no,
we're really
it's
here.
a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
That
Total disbelief.
that football game, especially guys like Grandmaster B, who's been a ticket holder since the Nixon administration. You know what I mean? I mean, guys like you guys have seen the worst of the worst. You guys stuck through the 0-16 seasons. You know,
brutal. That was brutal.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have stuck through the Millen era. I mean, and to get this, that's why I'm happy for myself, because I love seeing it. But I'm happy for a lot of you guys, because you guys were owed this. I mean, especially you guys have been dedicated.
Yeah,
I seriously, because I've met a lot of guys. I was a season ticket for a few years. I had season tickets, and I met some people there. They were season ticket holders since Briggs Stadium.
Wow.
Yeah, and that never seen a winning season but 4 times. And to see what we're going now, and it's not just it's a 1-year flash in a pan. I believe, and I believe a lot of people believe it. This is different. This is going to be different for a long time, because they've done this from the core up.
Yes.
We're having this kind of success, and it looks like we can have this kind of success for 3, 4, 5 years. That's what makes it so exciting.
AC Rebel.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Oh, every time you got a question for me, man, I'm in trouble.
Hey, AC Rebel. So if the Lions do end up pulling this off and winning, would you win the Super Bowl? Would you streak down 9 Mile and Van Dyke? If they win the Super Bowl naked, will you streak down 9 and Van Dyke?
Absolutely,
the Super Bowl naked. If they win the Super Bowl naked, like as you just said, I will too. If they win the Super Bowl naked, you just asked me. If you go back to Dave, you said if they win the Super Bowl naked, so I'm pretty safe to say I don't have to do that.
Would you streak? Would your wife allow you to streak down 9 and Van Dyke if they win the Super Bowl?
Probably not. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I mean, I could go ask her, but probably not.
So Chuck, you are going to take the Lions. You're taking the Lions?
Well, it depends on what you're asking. Are you taking me to win the Super Bowl or win this game?
You got the game coming up on Sunday. You're going to take Detroit over Tampa?
Also,
I'm
selective hearing, Paul. See?
I didn't hear that part.
No. I'm talking about
it was selective. No, I heard you. It was selective speaking policy. I answered the question you asked.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes, but it was you. It was Grandmaster B that had the problem speaking, and I answered the question he asked me.
Okay, answer.
Yes, and
Who's
answer
going to win the damn game, C-Rebel?
I believe that Detroit is going to win this game, but I believe they're going to come out full force. I believe they're going to win it a little bit more decidedly. I think they'll cover. I do believe I think they'll cover. I think they'll win it pretty good.
Give us a score, C-Rebel, down there.
34-17.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
Detroit.
What did you have, Paul? You had
34-28 is what I
you guys are
have.
going high scoring.
34-20. So Paul's got to give it an extra touchdown.
They're a 6.5 point favorite right now.
All right, so
6.5.
C-Rebel,
I agree. Well, I think they'll cover.
The Saturday game, Green Bay going up to San Francisco. Who's taking that game?
You know what? That could go either way. I'm gonna go with San Francisco, but Green Bay and Love is playing really, really good football right now. Those boys are playing very, very good football right now. So that could go either way. I'm gonna take San Fran in it just because they're loaded. They are totally loaded with Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and Mr. Irrelevant playing out of control. But I think I'm gonna go with San Fran, but I will not be surprised if I'm wrong in that game. And that's people are like, oh, I'd rather face Green Bay. I didn't want nothing to do with Green Bay in the first round.
Yeah, they're playing hot football right now.
Yeah, I'd rather face L.A. all day.
Hell yeah!
And it was pretty cool to rub in Matthew Stafford. I feel like we did him a little dirty after what he did for us, but he's playing for the other side now.
Yeah.
So San Fran's favored by 9.5.
They are?
Yeah, that's crazy. I think that's crazy.
That's crazy.
I'll take that 9 all day.
A little bit, but wow, that's inviting.
I'd be very surprised if it was still 9.5 by Saturday kickoff. I'd be very surprised. because that's a crazy number, especially the way Love has been playing. They got a great defensive line. Their offensive line has been playing really good. Their running back is a monster.
Well, there you go. We heard it from C Rebel. All right, C Rebel, thanks for coming on the podcast tonight. Thanks for taking the call and your input, man. Let's go Lions.